Hey, I'm here with Jenna and Eric, who just got back from the AGPA conference in San Francisco, and we're here to talk a little bit about their experience. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, do you guys want to share a little bit about what you presented on?
sure. Thanks, Rosie. So AGPA stands for American Group Psychotherapy Association, and they have an annual conference. This one was in San Francisco, and we did this year a 2.5 hour workshop exploring how psychedelic assisted therapy used in a group format can really be a powerful way to deliver this kind of work, this kind of like therapy to folks, and can really bring costs down and but also improve outcomes. And the big passion of ours, of course, and psychedelic assisted therapy, but group work also is super powerful and can be transformative on its own. So it was very exciting for us to present this. And I guess I'll just say kind of more specifically about the workshop. So we had 21 people participating. These are mostly, or I think entirely, therapists at the conference. And we did a short intro on just psychedelic assisted therapy and kind of the model that we use that kind of preparation meetings and then medicine session or sessions and then integration meetings. And we kind of did a kind of a model of that or a like a demonstration group. So we had an in like the intro, and then we had a preparation session where we invited the group members to talk about kind of what they were anticipating with the psychedelic experience they were about to undergo, anxieties about it, hopes, etc. And then there was an element of group process as well, so people just talking about what's happening in the present moment. And then for the psychedelic experience, I led a breathwork experience for some powerful deep breathing for I think 10 or 15 minutes. And then Jana kind of guided folks after that into a meditation. And so we did that for kind of to model like taking the psychedelics, taking the medicine. And then afterwards there was a longer group process that kind of talking about what happened and kind of insights folks had, surprises, and how they might begin to think about bringing this into their life, like whatever they got that they want to bring forward.
Amazing. That sounds so cool. Do you want to add anything to that, Jenna?
Um, I'll just add that I was really inspired and impressed that people really took up the work. And so the nice thing about this particular conference is it's highly experiential. And because we were in a demonstration group, we could really work with the here and now feelings that people are having related to psychedelic assisted therapy and their anxieties and some of the fears that can just come up and do come up very naturally when you're doing something that's so powerful and that also is really bringing in an altered state of consciousness. And so a lot of those fears and anxieties were manifesting in the group. There was lots of discussion around safety and some of these early feelings of belonging and fears related to identity and changes in identity. And that some of those experiences are very normal for what we see in group settings and specifically as it pertains to psychedelic work. And so there was this lovely parallel process happening. And it really felt like it was able to address a lot of those early nerves. And a lot of the power of group is like universality and knowing that you're not alone, that there's other people that are having very similar experience to you. So that was really powerful. And
Hmm.
then the breath work itself, it's like an altered state of consciousness in a way. And so it wasn't the same as a psychedelic experience, but it certainly allowed people to tap into the present moment and some people actually had visuals during the
Hmm.
meditation And so people really had this kind of distinct experience, which you really see with a psychedelic process. And then following during integration, there was lots of experience of what makes group work so powerful in the combination is like relating and connecting related to experience, and then also having differentiation and different people having different experiences, and these qualities of joining, which is some piece of what makes group work really interesting, and in some ways can be more powerful than individual work, is really seeing the connections, the relationship, the healing power of group itself. The
Mm,
title of the workshop was Healing as Community, or Community as Healing. And so really the group work as healing. And that in combination with psychedelics just is very promising in terms of what can happen and positive outcomes. So
mm.
those are some of the things that I noticed.
That's amazing. Sounds like a full-on immersive experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was super. It was great. I think it was received very well by the participants, which was super encouraging to us because these are esteemed colleagues of ours that
Mm,
we've been in their presentations in the past, and really some leaders in the field of group psychotherapy. And so yeah, I was very pleased. I think Jenna was too at how it went,
mm,
and there was a lot of excitement. We were one of only two presentations that addressed psychedelic assisted therapy and the use of groups,
mm,
and a lot of the same people were at both presentations, which was cool. So there was this kind of core group of group therapists at this. This is the preeminent organization in our
mhm,
country for group therapy. So
mhm,
there's a lot of interest among this group about how do we do this in a good way? How do we all love and believe in and know that group therapy is really effective. Um,
mm,
and so how do we kind of marry that with, or at least offer, services that marry that with psychedelic assisted therapy to really leverage both.
yeah.
And as I said, there is, it really can bring the cost down, and that's a big concern for a lot of folks who are wanting to do this kind of work. It can be very expensive to
Yeah.
work with an individual therapist.
Yeah.
Just paying like their hourly rate for a full day can be a lot of money. It can be quite transformative, of course, too. But
Yeah.
this is a great way to move forward, and that's really our vision in our clinic, is offering these kind of
Mm,
services more and
mm.
more.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the healing and community is also the there's also community coming together around figuring out how to bring this forward. And it's really
Yeah,
to be
Yeah. And
in the part of that.
yeah. And AGPA is unique in that there's a group of therapists, this group of 20 that had national representation and also international representation. And so in Colorado, we're very uniquely positioned to be able to be offering these services, but they're not being offered in other places. And so it just feels really wonderful to be able to share what Eric and I have learned, and like the growth that we've done, and the client outcomes, and just some individual case studies with them, so they can really see, this. I like the word marriage, Eric. It's very, it feels very apropos. There's this marriage that's starting to happen, and also, it's not starting to happen. It's been happening for hundreds, if not thousands of years, that psychedelics have been practiced in groups. And so there was a little bit, in my experience, there was the enthusiasm and the excitement. And then also, I think in many communities, sometimes in the analytic world, this can be predominantly analytic, there can be a little bit of pushback of like, well, we are working through the defenses very quickly with psychedelic therapy. We're working, and that's part of the excitement of it, is like you can do really powerful work very fast. And so there was a little bit of pushback in terms of what might this look like, or how might the modalities interfere with each other, or what if the psychedelic work needs a different set of ways of working, and that group is separate in these ways. And so that pushback is something that we've experienced, and that as we've been developing this company in all kinds of areas. I think we've spoken to that in other videos. And I think, like, my true feeling is that there's nothing new about this. This isn't a new modality. This isn't a new combination of modalities. Psychedelics isn't new to be used therapeutically. This is very, very, very long practiced, and some of the original medicine to mankind, to be doing this work predominantly in groups for healing. And so, um, it's always interesting to kind of run into some of those walls in academic setting. And I actually really enjoy the feedback and the feedback process and kind of learning what's in the field and what's out there and how things enter and um, some of the challenges that some therapists do still have with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll just add, I think one of the most important or most interesting points that came out of it is just considering like group therapy is a very interpersonal kind of therapy. You're working, everybody in the group is bringing their own mind, their own psychology, their own history, traumas they've experienced, et cetera, into the room. But it's kind of this like mix or melange of kind of things that so you might have one person in a group kind of reacting to a person another participant in the group because they remind them of somebody from their past, like their mom or dad or something like that, or their older brother or something. So it's very like you could call it intrapsychic in that way. And psychedelic, even the breath work we did in the meditation, most people had their eyes closed. I think probably everybody did actually. And so it's not interpsychic, it's intrapsychic. It's like an individual experience. And so that was just really interesting. That was some of the stuff that in the kind of the discussion after the whole experience that we talked about was it's a different kind of group actually, because you're starting as a group, but then you're leading the group members into this, personal experience in their own mind, their own body. And they're doing that as a group, but it's internal to them. And then you're coming back as a group to kind of integrate and talk about what came up. So, and it creates a different kind of group. It's, one person said it was kind of um, like more like a check-in group, at least at first in the integration, because it's like, oh, what happened for you? And then somebody might say, oh yeah, that's similar to what happened for me. But
Mm.
so a little bit less like crosstalk and, kind of spontaneous activity, and which is different than a process group usually is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, that part of the group, with ongoing integration, there's more opportunity for that, for more check-in, more crosstalk, more relationships to build.
Yeah,
And we had a little bit of a disadvantage of only having 2.5 hours, where in the groups that we lead, this is an ongoing process. Integration isn't a one day, one moment
right.
thing. And so there was a little bit of a limitation with
Yeah.
that, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess maybe the last thing I want to say is just like kind of adding to your point, Jenna, like the the model that I think, I was thinking about after the training that we led is the best ideal model would be a long-term group where people really can work deeply. And then perhaps if they're interested, doing medicine work together, just to really support what can happen and really leverage it as really an ideal way to kind of invite people to do this work.
Yeah. So beautiful. I'm wondering if you have any reflections on just the conference as a whole that you want to share.
I guess I'll just say it's so nice to it was so nice to be a part of it again. We have young children, so we haven't been there in many years, like 5 years, and it really does. People were saying it's like summer camp kind of because
Mhm.
like we both have been going for a long time and know a lot of folks, even though it's been 5 years, and it's like you see them, and it's like yesterday, and so it really felt nourishing for me to see a bunch of old friends and colleagues and just be around them and get our own healing too in the experiences that we were not leading. So we were part of groups too in this training. It's a very experiential workshop, and
Mm.
yeah, really really wonderful community.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I would completely agree. Then there's so many people that you run into from different walks of life. I started going to this conference when I was still a student, um, so long ago, maybe 12 years I've been attending. And there were many years where I was very consistent. And as Eric mentioned, it's been, 6 years since we've attended. And so it was an interesting gap, but very fulfilling to kind of see those relationships and also see myself. I think something that I really took away was like see myself through a unique window of my own growth and development. It's like I started when I was, I guess, late 20s attending. And I'm now, a lot older, a lot wiser in some ways, and balancing life and family and just connecting to the larger organization in this really interesting way. I think a group can mirror, can really offer us very unique mirrors. It's like little jewels on a cobweb or something where you're mirrored back, where you are and who you are. And I think for me, the trajectory over time has been um, very, very nourishing to sort of get different things as I've been in my own personal development journey, from the group experience, and to kind of see the way that I've personally changed in a group setting.
Mm,
And that kind of, I would say, progress actually, in some ways, was
mm,
really, really wonderful to have reflected back.
mm,
And also, I'll say, I don't know for you, Eric, but my private practice is so much better having gone. Like, I just immediately feel re-inspired, reinvigorated to do the work.
mm.
I feel like my skills are better. Like, I can
Yeah, totally.
hold. You feel that too? Yeah. It's just like,
Mm.
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
and I remember that like usually happens. It's because you're inspired and like doing you're we're experiencing the power of group in our own experience, our own work, and then coming back into our, and then I think it's also like being like seeing other therapists and witnessing, because
Mhm.
so much of group work is actually like witnessing and holding space and just seeing, oh, this is like amazing work this person's doing, and then it can rub off on how we work.
Mm.
And then nourish our own client base, which is it's like a trickle down
Yeah,
effect.
It's so
totally.
cool that an academic conference on group therapy is actually like also holding a container for the therapists to
Yeah,
go through their own group
yeah,
collective mirroring and internal process and how that ripples out.
yeah,
That's really
yeah.
cool.
It's a special kind of conference for sure.
Mm. Yeah. Well, what do you have lined up for this spring
Well,
that
we are
you might be
very
excited about?
excited. Yeah, we are very excited to announce that we're going to be doing a group medicine journey this spring, and want to invite folks out to Colorado to enjoy and participate. Also, of course, welcome to Colorado residents. But just inviting people to work with us, work with the two of us. We'll be offering a group medicine journey. And if you'd like more information about that, you can contact us, you can contact Rosie. And yeah, anything you want to say, Eric?
No, that's it. Just yeah. We'll thanks for watching, and
I hope
yeah,
Stay
to see
tuned
you
for the date.
soon.
yeah. If
Yeah.
you soon, reach
Do
out
it.
to us. We're here to work with you if you want to participate.
Amazing. Thank you guys for sharing.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks, Rosie. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.